Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, back at it again. Hopefully you're not getting sick of all these board game related videos I'm pumping out currently because it's just that time of year, also known as Rick is just very impulsive. Folks, what you're looking at is a 14-year-old game. It's a 2010 release from Lookout Games by one of my favorite, and that's no surprise, right? In the board game community, he is one of everyone's favorite. Uwe Rosenberg, and in this time it's Mercator. Agricola is my absolute favorite game of his. It was the game that brought me into the modern designer board game hobby for me back in 2009. This game then came out the next year, 2010, and it slipped under my radar. Of course, I was still new to the hobby at that time. I don't know how many print runs this game actually got, but it couldn't have been many because nowadays it is not the most common game to find. If you are familiar in any way, shape, or form with these games, these board games, classic Euro games, you'll know probably that Mercator is a fairly rare game to come across, at least for a reasonable price. Oh my gosh. Used copies of this can absolutely exceed $130 on any given day. Check eBay, check all the places that you normally find used games. For me, one of the big places is Noble Knight Games. They've never let me down. That is exactly where I found this. But you may notice this one is actually, despite having a tear here or there, folks, this is a brand new copy. That's right. Now you may have seen I just recently did an unboxing of a still shrink-wrapped copy of Medieval Merchant, a 20-plus-year-old classic Euro game. Folks, I couldn't believe I found one of those in shrink. But like I said in that video, I am willing to pay a premium if it means that I can be the first one to touch the components. It means a lot to me to be able to do that. So I couldn't believe it when I saw it. First of all, Mercator itself is hard to find, or at least not easy to find. But then to find a still shrink wrapped copy so I can turn back the hands of time. It's now 2010, and I have just picked up a brand new shrink wrapped copy of Mercator. This has been a I don't like to toss around the term grail game too loosely, but this has been on my board game geek wish list for years. I've I got obsessed with it, I believe originally with the Rado Runs Through video for Mercator, which made me fall in love with the mechanics. First of all, I love pick up and deliver. I love contract fulfillment. And give me a dry, dusty beige Euro any day of the week. This looks like a lot of fun. And then more recently, which got me even more excited about it, I can't remember if it was a year or two ago, the YouTube channel Before You Play. Monique and Naveen, folks, they do some of the best game explanations and playthroughs on YouTube, just period. They did one for Mercator, and I was renewed all over again. I've already kind of lost my train of thought apart from saying we are going to unbox this right now. So, I was going to say, couldn't believe, found this shrink wrap copy of Mercator at Noble Knight Games, where a used copy is over $130. This copy was under $150. It was like $149.99. So for, 15 bucks more, a still shrink copy. I mean, that's everything to me. All right, anyways. So enough with the jibber jabber. Here we go. We are going to be unboxing, tearing off the shrink wrap of this 14-year-old copy of Mercator and looking through the components. I cannot wait. I already got the sleeves. In fact, I bought the sleeves from Noble Knight Games. I wanted to be absolutely prepared for when this came in the mail. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, folks. I'm losing my mind here because this is super exciting. Okay, what's the best camera angle? You know what? Oh, I was going to do something. I forgot. Oh, that's too bad. All right, I was going to say we have a classic Euro game we're going to unbox today still in the shrink wrap. It's Master Builder. Folks, I already own a copy of Master Builder. Noble Knight Games has multiple copies of Master Builder. This is also a fairly old game. I don't know if the date's on here or not, 2008. So this is a 16-year-old game, and it's honestly one of my favorites. We actually just played this at game night last Saturday. And as you can see on the back of the box, this game about bidding on contracts, hiring and firing workers that each have different quirks, where event cards may come out and say, hey, all workers who are hot-headed can't work this turn, or something like that. And you're building these actual 3D modeled buildings. I couldn't believe that Noble Knight Games had some shrink-wrap copies. I love my copy, played it many times. So why did I get this? Because I'm somewhat of a hoarder, but I couldn't pass it up. This was under $10, $9.95 or something like that. I know I have a problem. I just could not let a shrink-wrap copy of one of my favorite games of all time go. So yes, I also picked that up from Noble Knight Games. All right. All that to say, I was going to use that box actually to prop up this camera so that we could get a better view once we open this box. The box for Merkator. Here we go. Oh, look at this. Folks, we're going to be the first ones who gets to unwrap the shrink around the cards. Oh, this is going to be glorious. All of the wonderful wooden Eurogame colorful cubes in this game. You've heard of dual-use cards? These are dual-use cubes. These are dual-use goods where, and we'll show on the player board how they can be one of two different things. And then here we have some more cards. Again, we are going to be the first ones to get to unwrap these and obviously sleeve them right away, because at $150, this game certainly wasn't cheap. All right, here are the rules. Oh my gosh. Merkator, fantastic. Let me move my arm around this way so we can open up the rules and see what we've got. Look at this. So as you can see, a decent amount going on, but after watching some of the playthroughs and stuff, didn't seem like it was too terribly much. The concept of time as a resource in this game also looks very cool. The concept of being able to follow other players, latching on to their actions is also very cool. And then we have a separate little handout for a game setup. Interesting. Player offices. This depiction of the player board kind of gives you an idea. A yellow cube, when you take it, can either be grain or saltpeter. Gray cube could be fabric or coal. You have to decide when you take the cube. So dual use goods. I don't know if I've ever seen that kind of thing before. All right, here we go. The other very cool thing about this game, did we see it kind of on the back? No, not really. Was a lot of what these punch boards are going to be are actual cube containers, little punch out build up cube boxes that I believe actually sit inside the board from the videos that I've watched. So of these punch out boards we have, and of course each colored cube gets its own mini little box. So we have those boxes as well as coin and time tokens, more boxes, coins and time tokens, and a third sheet of that. Next, we have the time track board. Depending on the number of players, this is so zoomed in. All right. Depending on the number of players, you'll fill up the time track so you can see as time passes. That is how one of the ways the game can end. 2 players, but if you want a longer 2-player game, you'll fill it to there, and 4 players up to the top there. And then just the game board and the player boards here. And so you will pop these out. And actually, kind of interestingly, the pop outs for the actual game board, and it's actually somewhat interesting the way this game board is, because it feels just like a punch board and it's in 2 separate pieces. So when you put it on the table, you'll actually, have to be careful not to let it slip and slide there. But each of and that so that is the player board, believe it or not, or not player board, the game board, believe it or not, that is the game board. The map of Europe in the center there with those little boxes is just where all of the actions are going to be taking place. These things are going to be punch outs, and I know I'm like trying to be gentle with it, but once you punch these parts out, not only does it give you, I guess, kind of a little player aid, but some of these are also each player's little warehouse for their starting goods. I'm not sure if it's a variant or just in the regular basic game, but you do start with one of each of these cubes that can be either thing. But the places that we're punching these out of is where those square containers will sit on the game board with the cubes in it that you'll be taking out. So the game board, you actually punch components out of. That's kind of weird, right? That's an unusual feature, in my opinion, that you don't see a lot. The game board itself is like the sprue remnants of part of a punch board. That's kind of crazy. And then plays up to 4, of course. So we have 4-player boards. I believe they're identical. There's not even a different player color here. I think, is that also somewhat unique? I mean, these are all different facets of the game that, in my opinion, are somewhat unique. Is this game doesn't have player colors. For a Euro game, you just have a board, and you're manipulating this one token. This is this is one of the most important components of the game, and it's about as exciting as grain of sand on the beach. It is just a white wooden cylinder, because you'll use this, manipulating it around the game board from location to location. Wherever you want to go either gets you time or costs you time, and some people can follow along. Players can follow you and take that action as well at a cost of time, potentially as well. But this is not just one person's cylinder. This is the cylinder, the Merkator marker, I believe it's called, that all the players are going to be using moving around the board. And so yeah, there is no player color necessary because there is no different player pawns moving around the board. It's just this one cylinder. It's basically like the yellow cylinder in Agricola. For at least the printing I have, it's an older edition printing of Agricola, where the first player marker was just a straight up yellow cylinder, basically just like this. I think it was a YouTube short at some point where I compared the first player markers of various games, from super exciting ones, kind of like Foundations of Rome. There's this actual metal statue of a Roman statue, and then all the way down to Agricola, which ended up being a single wooden yellow cylinder. Hey, it's practical, right? It gets the job done. But that's it, folks. That is an unboxing of Merkator. I cannot wait to get this game played. Oh my goodness. Some of these classics I just feel like truly hold up over time. And after watching mostly the same couple of playthroughs over and over again, because there's not a terribly large amount of Merkator content on YouTube, so you kind of got to deal with what you got. But I love contract fulfillment. Oh, let's look at some of the cards, actually. Let's do that as part of this unboxing. Even though there's more unboxings of Merkator on YouTube than there are of like playthrough videos. So let's get this deck of cards unboxed if we can, and see some of these contracts, and also some of the bonus cards, and also some of the buildings. So for example, and the contracts in this game are actually very unique. So you can have a contract and you can sell it for that much money, or you can attempt to fulfill the contract by having what it needs when you go to that location. What does that get you? It doesn't get you money for fulfilling it. I guess technically in a way it does, but instead this is a level 6 contract. It'll let you get the next level up contract for fulfilling this. You keep this contract. You can fulfill this multiple times, but it lets you lets you acquire a contract from the next level higher as well. And then in the future, on a future turn, again, you can sell contracts that you have for the money. So maybe I don't want to perform this Italy contract anymore. Maybe I will sell it and then it'll be worth $6. I've already fulfilled it. I've already gone up to a level 7, I guess, potentially is what it would be. Like this one, look at this Italy contract. Multiple locations, so you can see some synergies there. Maybe you try to do this. Maybe you try to have 4 identical food goods, a grain, an iron, and a copper next time you go to Italy, and you can fulfill both of these and get another 7-level contract and then an 8-level contract. So you can definitely do things like that. Because you'll notice the contracts are for the good cubes, but they're also for potential symbols, like the food symbols or the clothing symbols, because these goods are going to also be different kinds. So like plums, citrus fruit, and vegetables are different kinds of food goods, whereas calfskin and fabric are different clothing goods, and iron, copper, etc. are goods used in the production of weapons. So they have a good color as well as an icon, and so those contracts can be combinations of those. And so if you're like me, you're looking at these contract cards and you're like, gosh, that looks freaking delicious. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to fulfill that. Here we go with some of the bonuses. So then, here's what you can spend your money on. Money is points, by the way. So, you're giving up points potentially, but maybe becoming more efficient with the things you purchase at that point. Well, how much? I don't even know. How many points does money end up giving you? Game end and scoring. Or are they worth nothing? I can't remember. You know what? It may be that money is just worth nothing, so you want to spend it. Final round scores are tallied. Player with the most VP wins. Player with more than 5 contracts places the 5 most valuable. No forced investments. Each contract placed on the office board scores its Taler value in VPs, each additional contract. So yeah, I don't believe that money is worth anything in the end of the game. So you'll definitely want to get that spent in that situation. So these are great ways to spend those funds. So as you can see here, whenever you go to Spain, you can get 2, and not just purple cubes. These are already allocated for you. When you go to Spain, in addition to whatever else you get, you also get 2 plums. Whenever you see that little follower icon, that just means if someone else went to Spain and you either pay, I think all of the options to follow someone only cost time. You don't get time as sometimes you do when you're the active player. But if you decided to follow someone to Spain, you get a plum then as well. And that's going to be all of these. They're all different goods for all the different locations. So how exciting is that? Even same location. Look at this. If you had both of these, every time you go to Newfoundland, you get 2 iron and 2 muskets in addition to whatever else that you would have gotten there. So that is very cool. And then here are the buildings. Here's the other. Oh, that's right. This is also primarily what you're going to want to be spending your money on, because this is victory points, end of game points. So again, this game has like 4 things that I love. I love the idea of pick up and deliver. I love gathering resources and cashing those in, a la contract fulfillment. I love bonuses, kind of, I don't necessarily know if I'd call it a chain, kind of daisy chaining combo-rific situation, but I do love getting things for going places, little bonus cards, and I do love end of game bonus scoring that's going to be different for every player. So not only are you going to score points for your end of game contracts, but there's all these other ways to score end of game points asymmetrically from other players. So for example, being the sole player with the most victory points from contracts, that is going to get you 5 additional points. And this is going to be worth 4 points. Of course, at what point in the game do you potentially buy this? Early on when you don't know. So, you're throwing some cash at this, hoping that this will come true. be the sole player with the most bonus cards. So that is going to be these cards that we looked at. So if you're really gathering up a bunch of those, this one would be a good one. I'm not going to go through all of these, but for having at least 7 time tokens, I assume that's at the end of the game. So you're very frugal with your time tokens. Per time token, a half point per time token you have at the end of the game, 2 points per building card, including this one, so that's a guaranteed 2 points, etc. Folks, you have end of game scoring cards, you have in-game bonus cards, you have contract fulfillment, and you have pick up and deliver with dual use goods. I mean, that is, for me, that's everything. I just can't wait to get this to the table. Folks, again, thank you so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. This has been Merkator, and until next time.